Right. All right, everybody. This is live, all the way live. This is stream number 4, and it's just a quick something. If you have any questions about strategy, perhaps I can help. I'm not the grand wizard of the world, but I studied strategy for so long, and uh, for studying the art of war for so long, and coming to realize that that's what strategy is. I mean, it's the most prestigious of book of strategy written in the world today. And I think that a lot of people still don't understand it, or how to use it. And if you do, then that's how you use strategy. So if you have if there are any questions, but I might just reflect on some things from the book as I wait for any possible questions. Um, if I think about, like, from the art of war, what it says, it's not necessarily beneficial to have more strength, only to avoid acting aggressive. And so some people might, as they accumulate more things and more more wealth or more assets, they might think, well, I have more strength, and therefore I must be more knowledgeable. And in some ways, they might be, in what they do. Usually, if you become successful at what you do, then you understand the tactics really well. So you understand also how to make good strategies. But then, for the most part, most people are only really knowledgeable about the areas that they work in, and or some areas that they do research and or hobbies or things like that, where they develop some skills which are tactics. And to the degree that they understand those tactics is the degree to which they can make good strategies, right? And so herein lies the problem. If you can understand the principles of strategy, then even though you might not be completely knowledgeable in these different areas, it'll help facilitate the whole process of achieving what you want, even in areas where you aren't, the mastermind or the best or whatever. Understanding the principles of strategy will give you, it's more of a supplement, like the art of war says, it's to supplement extraordinary tactics. Okay, even if your tactics aren't extraordinary, and some things it doesn't matter. If you're picking pizzas and you don't know what type of pizza, you never had this one, you want to take a chance, it doesn't matter. The losses aren't that great. So when the losses are really great, then you should know your tactic and strategy, or have somebody who does. All right. And even in that case, it's not good to be involved deeply in something that's serious if you have to totally trust the people that you're, relying on. You have no knowledge of what they're doing. I mean, that's not good. You obviously not a general, you're not the person in charge, and then that's okay. Then you're there to take instructions. So yeah, I'm just reflecting on strategy once again. When I draw from strategy, I'm drawing from the art of war, the most prestigious book of strategy. So you have to be objective. Okay. Like it says in the introduction, Thomas Cleary's translation, the sage sees people as straw dogs used in a ritual sacrifice. And so, this is not to be taken out of context, but like he said, in the Buddhists put themselves on, they would visit the burning grounds of corpses, to terrify the greed from themselves. So a strong part of the book, like in Taoism, is first you have to correct yourself, then correct others. And so you have to make sure you're not being aggressive. The art of war says that, it's not necessarily beneficial to have more strength, only to avoid acting aggressive, which means it is necessarily beneficial to avoid acting aggressive. And only when you are objective, like the whole book is really about, can you really understand if you're being, aggressive or not. And if you can't see any aggressive tendencies in yourself, if you can't see how you're aggressive to some people in some ways, even on a minor level, then you're probably not being objective enough, because at any given time, you should be able to point out some of the things aggressive to yourself: not eating right, maybe not exercising. That it's not balanced. You're doing some unhealthy things, right? So then that's a war within you. To some degree, you are managing that, even if it's just subconscious, and that involves strategy. So if at any point you want to make a change, you're gonna have to use some type of strategy, right? As with, like, I've been trying to cut back on junk food, so my strategy is to monitor and measure and slowly cut back, and then for exercise, I know it's time, I got to do something. So I got at least a small a piece of exercise equipment that I can use at least to get started, and seeing it helps me to remember. So that's a strategy, right? And my strategy, all I can rely on is my tactics, my knowledge of tactics, So I had some knowledge about, everybody knows how to cut back, but they might go about it different ways, and in what you eat that's bad. And so, these are areas that are not so serious, but every action has a strategy, and every strategy has a tactic. You cannot separate that, so why not be aware? And a big part of it is being objective, right? Being able to see the big picture, step back. Like Anthony Robbins said in his book, Unlimited Power, look at your life as if you were watching a movie, right? And then you can control yourself, obviously, right? And you can only influence the other characters. You can't, obviously force anybody else. Like the Art of War says, you can make yourself invincible, but you can't make others vulnerable. Invincibility is in oneself, and vulnerability is in the opponent. Now remember, you sit and think in terms of always, all right, opponent, evil, bad, got to kill the opponent, got to crush the opponent. It's not always that. It can be that, but opponent just means whatever the conflict, whatever level of conflict. And then there's conflict around us all the time. Even in the best of relationships, there's a very subtle level of contention or whatever that's beneath the outer layer, the superficial layer where everything's fine and nice, everybody's smiling and laughing. There's still always an undercurrent of something. Maybe it's the way you dressed, or you're laughing too loud, or why'd you park in my spot, or why'd you get here late, or there's always this undercurrent. And that's where there's opportunity. That's where you can resolve problems before they form. That's seeing what others don't see. And this is what separates if you have two intelligent people, the only thing that separates them is this opportunity which lies in change, and one taking advantage of that, at the proper time. So military operation is based on speed, taking advantage of opponents' inability to catch up, going by routes which they don't expect. This implies that there are two intelligent people, or two strong sides almost, but at the very least, one is faster, right? And this is what helps also to make something unorthodox. When they cannot catch up with you, there's something unorthodox that you're doing, right? That doesn't allow them to understand your level of speed, right? And then you see that all of these different things are connected. All of these different things in the art of war are really connected. They happen simultaneously. So you have to understand all of them at the same time, really, in order to implement strategy. You might set up a strategy. You might say, well, I'm going to do this such, I'm going to make a cake, before, kids get home or something, or, I'm going to make my company, twice as profitable in the next 2 months. And you might lay down some, you realize, all right, I'm going to need to do this tactic and this tactic and that tactic in order to do that. And then your strategy is, well, this is how I'm going to go about doing it. Okay, so then the time comes, you start, and then you realize, oh yeah, you know what? I forgot about this over here, or I forgot about that over there. And this is why, like the Art of War, Mastering Art of War, strategy, changes 10,000 times in battle. All right, so first of all, you should be able to try to plan for as many of these things going wrong or unexpected things as you can, but you should be with such ability that that you can handle all kind of things that pop up in that area, right? And this is what most professionals do in their area, a doctor or a plumber, or they might realize, oh, you know what, I didn't realize this was this big, but I know who to get, right? So at the very least, if they don't know how to do it, they can get somebody who can right quick. And this is mastery of your level and how tactics are related to strategy, and the element of surprise doesn't, it could come from the enemy or the problem. The problem's not always a person, the opponent's not always a person. And then when you want to throw off your opponent, you should not only just have one surprise, but one surprise after another and after another. And so it becomes endless until you exhaust them, right? And that's really what strategy has a lot to do with that. Strategy is based on deception, whether you're being good, helping someone that you love, or going against competition in business, or someone's putting your life in danger, this still applies. It's kind of strange, but you have to sit back and think about it, right? So you're and maybe you're trying to help somebody in your family, and they feel very they're the type of person that doesn't like to be helped. So you might actually send the money through another way, and they think they might not realize it's from you, and then that's deceptive. But you're achieving your goal, and then you're not hurting them as far as and that they needed the help, but their ego is too big and they didn't want it. And so that's one form of how you use a deception in order to do good, right? In some cases, it might be somebody's health condition, or it might be, surprise somebody with a birthday party, or, to say, will you marry me, or something like. All these are surprises, right? And they could be ruined. You have to hide that throughout the day. You can't go around, hell yeah, we're going to throw you a party later. Now you've ruined it, right? And so it's like Khalil Gibran, there may be virtue in sin. And so herein lies one example of that. So this deception thing, some people take it wrong. I'm never going to deceive somebody. That's not what's meant by that. But when you implement a strategy, there's always going to be some level of deception. All right. So I'm Austin Christian with The Art of War Made Easy. Subscribe, hit the like button. Feel free to ask questions or put them in the comments later, and I'll try to come back and answer them then. I'm going to try to do some live streams very often, preferably every day, just at least right quick. I thought this would be quick, like a minute or two, actually. But once I get to running my mouth, it doesn't stop. And hopefully maybe somebody can get something from this. So if you like it, you watch, hit the like button and, and subscribe. And I'll see you soon on The Art of War Made Easy.